Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to the Cavs practice report from Independence at Cleveland Clinic Courts. It's the final day before the preseason starts. I guess maybe that's the most fun way to think about it. We have actual basketball to watch on TV and talk about tomorrow. That's always exciting, and we're looking forward to getting the preseason underway. Brendan Gulick and Spencer Davies with you. We did not talk with Coach Bickerstaff today, but we did have a chance to hear from both Tristan Thompson and from Isaiah Mobley. So why don't we maybe start with our daily recap there. Tristan Thompson, pretty much what you kind of expect from him. He talked highly of Evan Mobley, spoke highly of his trip to Louisville. It was a good visit with him.
It was, and I think the biggest thing that stuck out with Tristan's comments today was the leadership of Darius Garland. Darius Garland, as we know, was a rookie when Tristan was still in town. It was his last season with the Cavs, and it's kind of role reversal now. And Darius has kind of taken that mantle and been able to kind of be a little bit more vocal. He even joked with Tristan a little bit that he's his rook now. So that's kind of cool to see the role reversal there and the change in maturity, I guess is the word that I'm looking to go for here. So seeing Darius kind of get older, get more experienced in that part of his career is very nice. And then Tristan, like you were saying, he's talking about how these guys are getting real tough, and they're getting used to it, and the rigors of training camp and all of the conditioning that comes with it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, first game tomorrow against Atlanta. I'm really looking forward to see what the Hawks team looks like with Quinn Snyder at the helm.
It's going to be fun to watch that game and that team for sure. I realize there's a certain brotherhood in the NBA that maybe is unique to this league and the sport, but I did find it interesting that Tristan said, hey, obviously I was here when DG was a rookie and then left. And he said, but I watched every Cavs game and I talked to Darius with some regularity. I'm like, hey man, this is kind of what I saw. And, largely it was keep up the good work, but it felt like even though he wasn't literally on his same team, like he still took that mentorship part of their relationship seriously. I think that's really cool.
And that's what happens too when you're in the same agency. Let's not forget about that too. They're both clutch guys, and they are very close to LeBron, and they've also been able to kind of communicate throughout their careers, as you were mentioning. So that part's big, and it's the bond that you build with the closest teammates that you have that really propels you on the court. So I'm looking forward to seeing, Darius maybe find Tristan on a couple lobs, maybe even the preseason, because we know Jared Allen's not going to be available and probably won't be able to play for a couple of weeks at least as he gets through that ankle injury.
On the flip side, we talked to Isaiah Mobley, who is a guy who's got a lot of talent and trying to carve out his path. And I would imagine that there is some inherent challenge when you're literally playing in the shadow of your brother, who's one of the best defensive players in the whole league. He even referenced his brother's work ethic and said, he was happy to be first team all league defensively last year, but he wants to win the defensive player of the year. And I'm trying to figure out a way to support him and keep carving out my own path. Ultimately he doesn't want to be on a two-way contract. He wants to be a full-time member of the Cleveland Cavs. And, I think he's got the work ethic and the attitude to make that happen for himself.
Absolutely. And it's the strength that I think the piece that's the biggest for Isaiah to get to this level. You get a year of experience, you play a ton with the charge. You look at what happened in Summer League, and Isaiah played out of his mind. Very, very, good again, back to the basket. A lot of nice passes, defensively got better. So for him to get to this next level, I think that this training camp can be very helpful just to be playing against competition at this level. And I think for a lot of guys, that's the case. But you saw it with Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill, he's on his first big league contract now, and he started out as a guy in the G League. So it's possible, and it just depends on opportunity, depends on what the roster spots are like. But I'll tell you what, having a guy like Tristan, having his brother on the team, having Damian Jones to kind of iron sharpens iron. So it's good for him. I think that the Summer League definitely left him with a good note, and coming into training camp, it's going to propel him.
And it's hard when, you kind of recognize like you can only control what's literally right in front of you, right? You can't control when somebody else, needs to take a step back, whether it's an injury or minutes reduction or whatever. It's your job to make sure you're ready so that when your number's called, you get a shot. And so there is an element of Isaiah has to keep that mentality of like, man, I gotta be ready to go when I get that opportunity. I get the impression that he's the kind of guy that will jump on something like that.
No, yeah, and he is definitely used to that type of battle because he's been trying to battle his brother his entire life. And they were on the same team in USC, as we know, and, in the driveways, whatever it may be. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch him battle it out in camp here, and as guys try to lock up those roster spots and, again, see if he can get from that level from the G League to the NBA.
It's going to be a lot of fun to keep monitoring that along the way for sure. Of course, the Cavs are down in Atlanta. They are traveling today to get down to Atlanta to open up the preseason. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but just your overarching thought is you finally get a chance to see this team take the floor for the first time this year.
Sure. And they'll probably be without some guys. Like, we know that Jared Allen's not going to play. We'll see if Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell play. It's a preseason. It's the opener. But I think ultimately this coaching staff just wants to see what that offense looks like. Got a little bit more space with Max Strus and George Niang. I'm sure we'll see Ty Jerome in there. And they're just going to have a little bit more room to operate off the ball. They're talking about the revolving theme of this camp has been how they're moving the ball, how the space has been, and just how fast they're playing. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that. And truthfully, like on the non-Cavs side, I'm looking forward to seeing Trae Young and DeJounte Murray in year two. So
no overreactions allowed, Cavs fans. I know it's the first game of the preseason. Let's just take it for what it is. Is that fair?
That's fair. I mean, it happens in Cleveland. We know how it goes.
It's just how it goes. Well, we can't wait to follow along the way and hope you'll follow along with us over on CavsInsider.com. For Spencer Davies, I'm Brendan Gulick. We'll see you again real soon as we continue our coverage all season long. We're just getting underway here in Independence.